All right, here we go. Welcome back, Leverage Nation. Thanks for everybody tuning in live tonight, Monday night, 6:30, 7 p.m., like I normally like to do, Central Standard Time here at Leverage Nation. My name is Jacob Davis, your show host, and tonight's rock star, entrepreneur, business owner, soon to be author, and all around rock star is Liz Estrada, none other than Liz the Tax Whiz. Liz, say hi to our audience and tell them a little bit about yourself, Liz.
Well, thank you for that fine presentation, Jacob. Appreciate that so much. Thank you for having me on. Well, a little bit about myself. Liz, a tax whiz, Liz Estrada, born and raised in Corpus Christi, Texas. Now a San Antonian for what, 25 years now.
25 years. San Antonio, Texas. So, I'm going to ask the obvious question, right? A lot of people ask this all the time. So, Corpus Christi, Texas. What's the proximity to the Quintanilla, Salina Quintanilla, household? Like, I mean, is that something that people would like drive by all the time and be like, that's where Selena lives, or anything like
Well,
that?
it's funny, people always ask that question. They're like, "Oh, that's where Selena lived." I'm like, "Yeah, she was actually just about maybe 10 blocks. We lived in the same neighborhood. She was 10 blocks from where I lived,
Yeah.
and I used to see her, before she even came out with her red Porsche. I mean, we used to go to the same store back in the day, like we call it the tiendita in the
Yeah.
neighborhood. So yeah, yeah, she was a rock star there in the neighborhood. Very proud to say that I was able to witness that, her very successful career at that time.
Yeah. That's very cool. Well, okay, so you've been here 25 years. Okay. I was trying to do the math and just remember when she had her career and when everything happened and stuff like that, but it's all good. Um, so Corpus Christi is someplace that's pretty dear to my wife and I. So we like to travel there, we like to visit. And we've actually said many times we're like, you know what? I think this may be our retirement place, where because it's we love Texas, right? We don't want to go too far away from San Antonio, born and raised here, San Antonio, and so we do like Corpus. Um, but enough about Corpus and Selena and all that fun stuff. Let me ask you, Liz. You mentioned um, here in San Antonio. Did you get into taxes right away when you moved to San Antonio, or are you still too young for
Uh,
that?
Actually, let me just go back because actually it started in Corpus Christi,
You
and it's a
started
funny.
taxes before you moved here.
Yes, it's a funny
Yeah.
story. People are appalled when I talk about it. So I'm just going to kind of summarize it because I am writing a book on it. So I don't want to give
Yes.
away all the details. As a matter of fact, it's DG Enterprises that's helping me
That's right. Our show
publishing.
sponsor. Yeah.
Yes, yes, they are helping me. So, shout out to them for helping me, get that story going, getting my book going. But it started back when I was 13 years old. I saw my uncle with the pencil and the tax forms, the paper tax forms. Back in the day,
Wow.
you used to have to go to the post office and pick up all the books, the catalogs,
Yeah.
40 Easy, and then the forms, and bust out with your calculator and your pencil and sharpener because sharpen that pencil is important. And I remember saying, Theo, what is it that you're doing there? What's out of that paper? I was always intrigued by pens and paper, and just somebody looking like that corporate look. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
um Also, I'm the girl that always asks 1,001 questions. So he said, "Oh, it's filing my taxes." And I said, what is that? What do you mean filing for taxes?" And he says, "Well, then explain to me, what that was about." And I said, "Oh," he goes, "when you make an income, they provide you with a form. And when you file this form, you're either going to pay the IRS or you're going to get money back." As soon as he said, "You get them," I eliminated the whole pay the IRS. I just heard there's a potential opportunity to get money.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, really?" At that time, I had joined a program in Corpus Christi, Texas called the JTPA Summer Youth Program. And it was for children 12, mid 12, 13, 14, 15 years old that were in school. And I had went and enrolled in that program. And at the end of that summer program, I received a tax form. Had no idea what it meant, but it had a W and a two. So I went to my backpack. I told my uncle, is this a tax form? Is this what?" He says, "Oh, yes. Wow. Okay. So you worked this summer." I said, "Yeah, I did." Long story short, he said, look, I'll take you to the post office tomorrow. We'll go pick up the form that you need in the book, and I'll show you how to do it. Would that work for you? Would that be interesting for you? I said, well, absolutely. If I'm going to get some kind of money out of it, then heck yeah, I want to learn how to do this. Right.
Yeah.
And that was my first tax form. My uncle sat me down at the living room table, coffee table, and he had me just write it all out. And I ended up getting a little money back. I got a little bit of money back. I think back in the day, I want to say I got back like $25. And this was back in 1983, 84, 85, 86, 1987. Okay.
Wow.
So what I did, Jacob, is I went straight to all my friends that I'd worked with. And I started asking everybody, hey, did you know that this form right here can get you some money back? And they're like, really? Wow, no, I didn't know. Did you file it? They're like, I didn't even know what we're supposed to. I said, well, you know what? For $5, I'll file it for you.
Wow.
So I started
Wow.
writing out I started getting everybody's W-2, and I started doing tax returns. I must have did about maybe 15 tax returns at that time. So 15 times 5, you do the math. It was a lot of money back in 1987.
Man, that's awesome. Such a cool story. So 13, you're doing taxes, filling out the W-2s for your friends and stuff who worked in the area, I guess.
Pencil, paper, and just it was a moment that I was like, wow, I held on to that skill.
Yeah.
Right. So fast forward, going on in life, 13, 14, 15. By the age of 19 years old, I became a paralegal, and still doing taxes, but not on a professional level, Jacob. It was kind of secondhand at the season.
Sure.
I did it for friends. I did it for family, still doing the pencil and paper, calculator method. They didn't have any software at the particular time. So, you had to know your formulas.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was doing. Fast forward to 2000, gosh, let me see, 2002. I was already in San Antonio, Texas. I had friends that started to hear, hey, Liz does taxes. Again, not doing it for the public, not doing it on a professional level, just for friends on the side.
Yeah.
And now they're asking me, hey, can you do taxes for us? Can you come by the house? And back in that day, we had internet, but we had just found Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, okay. Do you remember the little box, that little portable clear box that you could
Yeah.
connect?
Uh-huh.
Like the T-Mobile hotspots they have,
Yep.
I think Sprint had it. So back in the day, everybody's kind of walking around with that little turn on your little
Yeah.
mobile
Yeah.
hotspot. Sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't, right? And at that particular point in time, they weren't as reliable. And of course, on the financial side, being a single mom, raising kids, I couldn't afford
Sure.
it, on a regular basis myself. But one thing happened, something changed. In 2002, Starbucks started providing Wi-Fi. However, they were charging,
Yeah.
and they were charging Wi-Fi. So I got to leverage that in a sense, but again, there was still a cost for it. So kind of backed off of it and went back to pencil and paper. Software started coming out for taxes, the tax software where you were able to go in and something like TurboTax and things like that.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward to, I believe it was 2008. Starbucks started rewarding all their customers with 2 hours of free Wi-Fi per day. So I said, if
Wow.
I go buy a Starbucks coffee, I can sit here, do taxes, and as long as I'm drinking their coffee, right? So I was
Yeah.
all wired up on their coffee, but I
That
was
stuff's
doing,
strong. Yeah.
yeah, but I was leveraging that 2 hours of free Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
why not? It's free, just for a cup of coffee, $5. I'm in. And at that particular time as well, I was going through some like career shifting, trying to figure out, do I want to, do taxes full time? And I was also a paralegal working for law firms at that time. And I decided I wanted to become a realtor. So in
Okay.
2005, I became a realtor, right? Still doing taxes part time on the side.
Okay.
2005, I became a realtor. Now I'm full time at Starbucks. Now they have free Wi Fi. In 2000, 2005, 6, 7, 8, free Wi Fi. Okay.
Wow.
But that's not where the story starts. That's not where the story starts with taxes. My story actually starts doing taxes full time was in 2010 at a McDonald's parking lot. McDonald's
Wow.
launched January 1st free Wi Fi for the public. Unlimited Wi Fi all day long, not 2 hours limitation. It was all day long. So when tax season came, Jacob, that was it, hands down. I started my business in my Ford Expedition. Um,
Wow.
I had all my clients coming up to the McDonald's parking lot. I mean, people were wondering what I was selling out of my truck because I had customers coming in and
Wow. 2010, you said.
2010 when I took off doing it full time.
Yeah.
And I started out of the back, out of my truck, out of my expedition, out of the back seat of
Ah.
my truck. And that sounds a little funny, but uh, I actually had a big old printer, Jacob, a big Mama Jamma Dell printer
Really?
in the back seat. I
That's
had to
awesome.
I had to plug it into some electrical outlet, you know, put it in that little cigarette lighter thing. I don't know what that
Yeah.
thing's called, but
Yeah,
um,
the accessories. Yeah.
yeah, got it going. And I had just clients, I would call them, tell them, hey, meet me at the McDonald's parking lot on XYZ Street. And I had a parking lot full of people. Parking lot full of
Wow. That is so cool. You know, what comes to mind is this, that, I've gotten to know you recently here. You've attended some events. We've been together at some events, some masterminds, some retreats, a writing retreat, and different things. And I think about the audience. If there's anybody in the audience, if there's somebody who's listening to this and who's inspired, who says like, man, she started taxes in her vehicle using the free Wi-Fi. She had the printer in the car. Like, I mean, that's pretty motivational. You know what I mean? For somebody, I know you mentioned single parent at the time. Those are real life struggles. And I posted something earlier on social media, and I was just asking, like, why do you push harder than the next person, right? Like, is it legacy? Is it money? Is it the revenue? Like, what is it, right? And what was that overriding factor for you, Liz? Is just like, you know what? I got to get in my car. I got to go sit and use the free Wi-Fi. Like, what was it? Was it, what was it, the overriding factor? Like, was it success? Was it, I got to pay the bills. I got to feed these babies. Was it, what was it? Sense of accomplishment?
Well, Jacob, I mentioned the 2008 crash. Anybody who was in real estate knows how
Yeah.
hard that was for many families. To be quite transparent, I actually was this close to a foreclosure. My property,
Oh,
my vehicle actually did get what is that when you wake up and it's gone, when they go repo?
oh,
My
repo.
vehicle got,
Yeah.
yes, my vehicle had got repoed. And I said, oh my goodness, like this was like the most horrible feeling in the world. I just said it's not going to happen again. Like I need to get my hustle back. And the at that particular moment, it it just about killed my drive just for a second. But
Mm,
then I just bounced back and I said, you know what? There's so much more out there in the world. I'm not going to allow that to defeat me. I need to just sit back, regroup, re-strategize about my career, what I'm going to do, what is recession proof, what if
yeah.
this happens again, what what is my safety net. And I said, what are two things for sure in this world, for a fact? Death and taxes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
I need to get back into taxes and I need to stick with that because taxes is about one of the only industries that I know of. Correct me when I'm wrong. If there's anybody in the audience that has another idea of another industry that's recession proof, then by all means put it in the comments. But taxes for me is recession proof because no matter what's going on in the economy, Jacob, taxes got to be paid,
That's
period.
right. Yeah. You can only
So
run from them for so long, right?
exactly. So that's really what really, when the light bulb went on, I said, this is where I need to be. because I don't ever want to go through that experience in my life again. And so I just started slowly but surely, picking up the pieces. It took me about a year. In 2009, I was transitioning out of real estate, trying to, I still have my license. However, I was trying to get myself together for the new tax season, making sure I had all the up to date knowledge, the codes, and all the changes that takes place every year. And so when 210 came around, it was game on, and it was no excuse. I mean, there's so many things in the world, Jacob, that we have to we have to leverage these things. There's so many programs in the
Yep.
world. Right now there's programs out there, Jacob. There's no reason why anybody shouldn't have a laptop. There's programs out there that give you free laptop. It's a matter
Wow.
of the people wanting to leverage what your city, what your county has for you. It's
Yeah.
there, but people need to learn how to be resourceful. Just like I was resourceful with using that Wi-Fi. I wasn't embarrassed. You know what? I put my ego aside, Jacob, and I said, I'm not embarrassed because I'm out here as a single parent, and I'm out here to make it happen. I got a
Right.
family to feed. I got a mortgage that I never want to be in foreclosure again. I got a vehicle that someone helped me get. I need to make sure that I make that payment and it never
Yeah.
goes into foreclosure or repo status. So I just that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. I got fired up. I said I don't ever want to feel that feeling again.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And you mentioned leverage, several times, and that's the key is, in my book coming out, Get Leveraged, I talk about that is the fact that, many people miss an opportunity because we don't see it as a gift wrapped with a pretty bow. And leverage opportunity is something you have to analyze and decide, like, you know what, I'm gonna take that action. Another thing I've learned, since I joined Daniel Gomez Enterprises, at the end of last year, putting myself in rooms with people like yourself, right? Business minded, have earned the stripes, have gone through some things in life and said, I never want to go back to that, right? Having the experience, but also like putting it in action, right? I mean, there's so much difference between having the knowledge. I mean, it's easy to have the knowledge. Books are everywhere, the internet. You can ask Google. I joke with my kids all the time. I said, well, Google it, because Google tells you everything. The other day I was trying to figure out what the payments would have been on this vehicle, and I just went to chat GPT, and that sucker spit out all of the mathematical equation, and it got to the number, and it was like precise. I was like, wow. I just needed to know the number. but
Right.
the thing is, you mentioned leverage, several times, and I love that because that's what my book, thanks to DG Publishing, our show sponsor. um the book is going to showcase that, and I've got 12 other people amongst myself talking about leverage opportunity and how they have used it or identified it. um so that's amazing. So I know that I met your daughter. She's in business as well, right?
Yes.
Very cool. And then what other projects do you have that you're working on now, Liz? I know the book is coming. You're working with Daniel, our publisher, to get the book going. And I've heard the backside of that, guys. So anybody listening to this show, I've heard the backside to that. I'm excited to have a copy of that book. I have two daughters, so I'm excited to have three copies of that. One for me and my wife, and one for each of my daughters. Just because I know your story is amazing and people need to hear it, and
Thank
so I'm
you. And
excited for that.
definitely the book is about, like you said, it's to inspire those that feel like, man, how do I get this, or I can't, or there's no
Right.
such thing as can't, guys. Like, get that word out of your vocabulary. As my father always said, where there's a will, there's a way. How bad do
Yes.
you want it, right? You're going to
Yes.
figure it out because that's what you want. You don't allow any obstacle, and there will be obstacles. Oh wow, there was many. I mean, so many. I mean, just last year I had, 7 deaths in the family and so many
Wow.
different adversities. Um, and it set me back. It set me back, but I pushed through. Just recently I had another huge adversity. I had the plumbing in my house. It just was raining in my house. Another pushback, but then I pushed through again. And thanks to the coaches that I have multiple coaches for different parts of my life. I think it's really important for people to invest in themselves. It's
Yeah.
very important for people to invest in themselves if they want to get to different levels of life. You know, it helped me not only for my tax business to leverage and move and scale, but it helped me as an individual, as a person, to be the best person I can be, not just for myself, but for my team. Because there's no I in team. Like everything that I have today, it's not just Liz
Yes.
Estrada that built it, but it's the team that have stuck by me to build it. And my daughter Eve Estrada was part of that team, and she was along with me and since she was like 11 years old. So you ask that girl anything about taxes and she knows. Today she's doing Botox and teeth whitening, and I'm shout out to her because she's doing such an amazing job.
Yes. Yes.
You got to let your kids fly, right? Let them kind of find their own way there and live their dream, right? You can't
Yes.
impose your dreams on your kids, although you want them to take the path. But sometimes you got to let them go. I always say she'll be back. But if you're listening, you're probably smiling, daughter. But the other thing is the reason for the book is, again, I want to empower other women, especially. I want to empower the masses, but I want to let women know that if your heart is in it and you believe in yourself and believe that there are people out there willing to share their experience and to help you leverage some of the things that are out there. However, we cannot help you if you don't speak up and ask for the help. That's the biggest key, is people don't speak up. So I encourage y'all who are out there who have been thinking about making a career move, maybe not, so certain about what direction to take, reach out to a professional, reach out, to anybody. If you don't have somebody in your immediate circle, I need you to reach outside the circle, because there are so many programs, there's so many opportunities out there. And if you're interested in knowing taxes, definitely reach out to us, because that is something that we're going to kick off next month. We're going to start kicking off tax courses. So we will be
Nice.
teaching people how to prepare income tax returns using pen and paper, because in case software ever goes down, they know how to start with pencil and paper. So that is the other project that we're working on right now, Jacob.
Very cool. Well, there you go, guys. You heard it right from Liz, the tax whiz. So they've got a program that they're developing right now, to help you. Put the pencil to the paper, just like that old school way. My kids don't even do that anymore in school. I mean, they use their phones and all this stuff, right? But so one thing that I was thinking about, Liz, is so you've got the book you're working on now. Um, do you and you've been in coaching, like you mentioned. Do you have aspirations to speak on stage? Will people see you anywhere soon? I know you're on the podcast today, and I'm sure that you've been on others, and you will be on more moving forward. Just your background is amazing, and the story needs to be shared, and the motivation needs to be shared. And will you be speaking on any stages or any events that people could connect with you at coming up?
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked that question, because this will be my first time attending Sticker Shock. Did I
Yeah.
say that right? Sticker Shock. Yeah, that's
That's right. Sticker Shock Speaking Academy. Yeah. So we have that coming up here, San Antonio, September 13th and 14th. So this will be your first one. You'll be speaking on stage, right?
yeah, super excited about it. My coach Daniel Gomez, has we have the one-on-one coaching, and definitely helping with being able to sometimes people have the thoughts in their minds, but sometimes not sure of the delivery, So those are
Yeah.
some of the coaching that I'm going through right now, is being able to, just speak freely, speak from your heart. And I'm excited. I'm excited. I will be on stage, and I'm looking forward to being on many more. Definitely want to not just, I go out there to be inspired, but now I'm here to inspire as well.
Yeah. And that's the rewarding part, right? Is like, because I've been attending, a lot of conferences and different things and masterminding and different stuff with Daniel now that I've been here. It's great to connect with people doing things that we aspire to do, but it's also good to remember to reach back, right? And to look back and see, okay, who can I inspire that maybe is not connected to anybody? Because it happens, and as we're rising to these new levels, it's important that we be able to do that and pay it backward, right? Or, I guess they say pay it forward, but I feel like it's you pay it backward to the person that's needing somebody to relate to, needing some advice, just needing somebody to plug into them, right?
Absolutely. One of the things that, I mean, one of the, I was reading, was chapter 7, I believe, today in one of the John Maxwell books, The High Road to Leadership. And it's like, are you a low road or a high road leader, right?
Mm,
And one of the things that, really stood out is, high road leaders are always doing more to be able to give, right? So going
yeah,
to a lot of these conferences, people are like, Liz, you're always on vacation. You're always traveling. Man, it looks like yes, I know it looks like I'm out there just, having a vacation. But honestly, Jacob, Liz Estrada goes to these events to be able to bring back, you know, the information to share with my team, to share with my clients, information that's going to help their lives.
yeah,
Um, that's what I'm doing, So I give back, they pay me for a service, but I turn around and I use that money to be able to go get more education, to take it to another level,
right.
whether it's for taxes, whether it's for team building or self-development, it's all still to give back to my community, to give back to the people who have entrusted me with their finances, for the team who has entrusted me to help them build up their careers.
Yeah. And that's what's super important. I mean, I love that about here, we get that quite a bit. Daniel pours into us as our coach, and I can feed the team, and it just rolls. So we're in a great environment of education and growth, right? And that's super important. um, what is on the horizon? What's next? What do you have besides the book and Sticker Shock Speaking Academy? How can our audience get in touch with you, if they wanted to reach out to you? If somebody's watching this and says, "Shit, I haven't done my taxes in 5 years or something," and they're like, "You know what? I want to get with Liz. She's a person I know she can help me." Her and her team. How would they get in touch with you, Liz?
Well, let me start with saying I am a Main Street tax advisor, also coached by David Bettis with DAP, Tax Pro Experts. Let me tell you, these guys have done some amazing things with the tax industry on teaching tax strategies. David Bettis right
Mm,
now, hands down, is my personal one-on-one coach. Okay,
yeah.
he's out of McAllen, Texas, and that is what I do. I do tax strategies. I do taxes. My team does taxes all year long. So if you have back taxes you haven't done, it's been 2, 3 years. Let's say that you lost all your W-2s and tax forms. We're able to retrieve them for you going through the IRS website. But I primarily help clients who owe over $30,000 in tax. If you owe over $30,000 in taxes, you definitely want to reach out to me personally. um, we can implement strategies that will help reduce your tax liability legitimately. We might have to do some income shifting. Maybe we have to restructure your formation. Maybe it's time for you to go to an S corp. There are multiple ways that we can help reduce people's tax liabilities. And so if you're looking to do that, definitely reach out to Liz Estrada at 210-888-7500. We are open Monday through Friday and all year long. Our office is not closed. People say, oh, it's tax season, January through April. It's tax season all year long for us.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't close because we know life happens, situations happen, and people don't get their taxes in on time. So we're here all year long to assist those that are needing to retrieve tax documents, those that are needing to file late or maybe get organized. We do tax planning, we do tax bookkeeping as well. Multiple things that we do here at the tax office. We have a
Nice.
storefront. We do have a storefront. It's on West Avenue between IH10 and 410. It's 3613 West Avenue. You can find the information on Facebook as well, First Action Tax and Financial Services, and it's the 1ST, Action Tax and Financial Services. You can also go hashtag Liz the Tax Wiz, and you'll be able to find information there as well.
Very cool. Well, there you go, guys. You heard it right there. So, this is usually the point where I'll ask, like, if there was a leverage to point that you'd like to discuss with our audience, what would that be? But man, you've dropped a lot of leveraged opportunity, a lot of leverage bombs, and very cool. So, thank you so much, Liz. I look forward to seeing your book. I look forward to seeing you speak on stage and hearing you, and just seeing your growth. I know your heart. I've gotten to know you, and I look forward to just seeing what you and your team do and how your company continues to grow. Guys, if you don't have a tax professional, if you need somebody who's plugged in, somebody who knows the business and the strategies, like that's one of the things, the tax strategies, right? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that do taxes, right? But the strategy is the key because, Daniel told me this many years ago, right? He's like, you want to keep as much of your money as possible, as legally possible, without continuously just giving it away. And I think many of us who don't know that there are strategies out there, um, give it away, and we're just giving it away without really understanding, that.
Exactly, Jacob. And on that note, I just want to throw in there, many people have said, I have a CPA. Guys, let me let you know right now, CPAs are CPAs unless they have studied the actual tax code for the strategies. So you need to interview your CPA.
Yeah.
If you're paying thousands of dollars still, then you need to interview your CPA. You need to find out what's going on. So don't be fooled by credentials. Many people think that because there's certain credentials that, no, don't do yourself an injustice. Do your homework, ask the right questions, and look for a tax strategist. Look for the right tax advisor and somebody who is well versed in the current tax strategies of today.
Yeah, I could definitely agree. You mentioned CPA, and it just comes to mind. So, I've had all kinds of businesses. I've been involved in so many different things, some successful, some not so successful. Honestly, some failures, right? Got some bumps and bruises coming up. But, I never forget, a business that I opened with my mom many, many years ago. I was in my early 20s. And that particular business, we had a CPA, and we ended up getting audited. And I'll never forget, everything was most of the stuff was in my name, and it was pretty frightful. They threw up that red flag, and it was like, oh, what do you mean? Like, I got a CPA, I got this guy right here handling my paperwork, handling everything. It's different. It's different. CPA runs numbers. Tax strategists are running the strategies behind it to keep you out of harm's way. And thankfully we got through that with no major issues, but it is nerve wracking. So yeah, I can relate to that. I recall many years ago.
Yes. And on that note, guys, let me just let everybody know, documentation beats conversation any day of the week with the IRS. So if you're in business for yourself, if you're currently running a business, you must keep records. And let me tell you, your bank statements are not enough. You need to make sure you have records. You need to have your calendar, your journal of where you're at. What were you doing if you were running out of town? You need to have receipts. You
Yeah.
need to have detailed documentation because your records, your what they call your credit card statements or your bank statements are not sufficient.
Wow. There you go, guys. You heard it right there from Liz, the tax strategist, right? Liz, the whiz. So, guys, thank you all so much for plugging in tonight. Liz, thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you for having me.
We really appreciate you. We look forward to seeing everything that you're working on, everything you have coming on. Guys, you've already heard it, how to reach Liz. We'll put it in the comment section again, on the show episode, so that way you'll know how to reach out to her and her team. But anybody out there, if you're looking for somebody to connect with, somebody to follow, somebody that you can relate to, right? You heard her story, and if you haven't, go back and rewind this, go back and listen to it again. Amazing story. So, once again, guys, thank you so much tonight, Liz, for being on my show.
Thank you,
Jacob
Jacob.
Davis, and this is Leverage Nation.